Wake up, RipCity, because we're reacting to NBA All-Star Weekend. It seems like the first time in a while where the Blazers have had people at All-Star Weekend who made an impact. We start, of course, with Dame in the three-point contest, and then Deni in the big All-Star game on Sunday. Then, of course, you had Donovan Clingan and Yang Han-Sen in the rookie and sophomore showcase. So a lot of good stuff for Blazer fans on All-Star Weekend. It was exciting to see the return. Feels like it's been so long. This is the Wake Up RipCity podcast. We're going to talk about All-Star Weekend today on the show and react to it and talk about why it's important as Blazer fans that we see some representation in NBA All-Star Weekend. And then also, Gliss, today I'm going to drop some tank fixes on you and let you I want your thoughts on whether or not the Wake Up RipCity podcast can fix tanking in the NBA, or at least look at some ideas that really smart people have come up with to fix tanking and see if we agree with them as more casual NBA fans and now NBA podcasters. So, exciting show today. Gliss, before we get started though, I just want to drop some love to Portland Spicy Peanut Butter. Awesome sponsor. If you go and buy their the peanut butter on their website, which will be in the description, you get 15% off and you get free delivery to your door if you have a Portland address. It will just be dropped off at your door magically for free. And you get 15% off. So go ahead and order it if you want to support the pod, if you want to support some local peanut butter. But Gliss, let's talk about this All-Star Weekend. What was your favorite moment? What were you excited to see? What were you happy to see as a Blazers fan?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, since I was in my work week, it was a little bit of a struggle to kind of keep up with that with everything, because that's usually when I'm sleeping, and pretty much it seemed like everything was 2 o'clock start time.
It was, yeah. That was weird.
It was kind of weird. Yeah, it was a little weird. It was I kind of get it, they're trying to get that, East Coast primetime kind of thing going on, but
I think it was the Olympics. The Olympics were Sunday night, and obviously that's going to take a lot of viewers, so they wanted to go earlier, but it was weird. I don't know how I felt about it.
Yeah, and I will say it's with NBC having the Super Bowl this year, I've kind of NBC really has things rolling in the sports department right now. And so I did love the feel. You know how much I love that round ball rock theme.
So awesome.
I was loving just kind of the vibe of All-Star Weekend with it being on NBC. Kind of gave me that nostalgia. But yeah, for me the highlight was Dame. Just to see him out there in a Blazer uniform and just effortlessly, dropping 3-pointers. That was definitely my favorite part of the weekend. It was cool to see Deni get some action, even though they lost both of their games. I thought he played well, kind of typical, just kind of he was laying back a little bit, just kind of letting things come to him, which I think is the right way to play it, especially in your first All-Star appearance. That way you're not trying to do too much or, doing anything to embarrass yourself. So I thought he played well. And, it was cool to see Donovan and Young in the showcase game. That was cool. I think I've heard a lot of hate, on the internet and just kind of writers in general saying that the Blazers kind of missed on that pick with Henderson. Just some of the guys ahead of him that were drafted. But I will say, I think the position the Blazers are in their rebuilds, you're kind of in that area where it's okay to take a risk. And I think we saw some flashes of, why he's an exciting player. And Blazer fans know, if they've been watching this season, you kind of get those glimpses of what he can be. And he's a very skilled offensive player. So it was fun to see him in that setting where he didn't have a lot of pressure and he could just kind of go out there and play. So that was probably the other thing that kind of stuck out to me, was just getting to see him in that setting. That and Dame were kind of the two things that I took away that I enjoyed the most, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Dame was awesome. I mean, he shoots to 27 in the first round, 29 in the second round, and just it was just vintage. It was just vintage performance, and it was I don't know, like I wasn't going into it thinking he was going to win, but then when the event started, I was like, yeah, I kind of expect him to win this because this is just what he does. I love that he has the money ball rack on the last rack. Like, to me, that's like so ballsy, but it's just so him because it's like that's when he knows that he's going to come up clutch.
Game time.
Yeah, and man, it was just exciting and just yeah, like you said, seeing him compete. I loved his interview afterwards where he was asked about what he thought about Devin Booker's last round, and he's just like, "I was praying on his downfall, man." And it's just like he's such a good quote. It's so crazy, and he's so real in his interviews and stuff like that. It's just so refreshing to see it, and it's just nice to be reminded because I know as you know we've seen this guy since he was a rookie when he came into the league, but it's been a while, man, and it was just so good to see him. It was so exciting. Deni in the All-Star game was awesome. I really enjoyed watching him play. I think the world team I think everyone wanted to watch the world team. I didn't really Kawhi had an amazing quarter, put up 31 points in that one quarter. In the one quarter, it was incredible. But like everyone wanted to watch the world team because of Victor Wembanyama and just how they were playing. And like I was just like really gravitated to watching them play. And of Deni's first All-Star game, I think he was just kind of, getting used to the flow of it and how it's a different type of basketball. And he found his spots and stuff like that. But it was just so refreshing to see him out there and so exciting to see him out there. And, All-Star, of course, is more about the ceremony being named is the more important thing than actually playing in the game.
Yeah.
But it's just refreshing to see him, and he gets a lot of attention because of this, and it's well deserved, and it was just super exciting. And like I was saying, it's that representation. Just having a Blazer out there is so meaningful and so important and so exciting. It's hard to get an All-Star. It is, especially for a small market team. There's only 24 of these guys named, some injury replacements too. And it's awesome for him to be out there and so exciting, and it was great. And just watching all the interviews, watching all the content, it just made me so happy. You get Dame on top of that, you get Klingen, you get Yang Hansen on top of that. Yang Hansen had some nice plays in that game, which you were alluding to, which were fun and exciting, and seeing him smile and seeing him happy is just like warming my heart. I'm just like, oh, this is incredible. It's just like I just want to see him happy. I want to see him happy. And of course, I have intrusive thoughts about why couldn't the Blazers have drafted someone who would actually play in the rotation right now. But I didn't have those intrusive thoughts during the game or during the weekend. It was just about having fun, and I really, really enjoyed watching all of the different players at the All-Star weekend. Gliss, I do have something I want to touch on the dunk contest a little bit. And obviously, I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch it. I had no interest in watching it. Didn't need to. It was Saturday afternoon. I was rather be outside, and I did not watch it.
I watched the end of it. I watched the last round.
Okay. Yeah. It seems that at least in the last 10, 15 years, this has kind of happened. It's the dunk contest sucks for like a few seasons, and then everyone's like, how do we save the dunk contest? Let's get rid of it. What do we do? Shaedon Sharpe could save the dunk contest. He could come back and enter the dunk contest, and he would be electric, and everyone would be like, the dunk contest is back. Shaedon Sharpe saved the dunk contest. That would be all the articles online. But it is something with Shaedon's attitude that when I was thinking about this, he doesn't want to be in the dunk contest. And you can speculate about why. Because he doesn't want to be embarrassed, I think would be the biggest reason. Because the dunk contest is a huge opportunity for these athletes to embarrass themselves. It's happened. I mean, there's been layups in the dunk contest. I think Chris Anderson missed 20 dunks in a row or something ridiculous. And people get embarrassed. But this is an issue with Shaedon's attitude that I think needs to be fixed. And I don't know why I'm completely relating it to the dunk contest, but it's like, man, he has a chance to go out there and make himself a star, make himself known in the NBA. Not many people know how electric of a dunker this guy is. Like, that's ridiculous. If he went out to the All-Star weekend and he won the dunk contest like everyone thinks that he would because he has a 50-inch vertical and would throw down some of the best dunks that the league has seen in a few years in the dunk contest, it's been won by a G Leaguer how many times in a row now? And it's just like, shaedon, man, your attitude needs to change. You need to go out there and grab this. It's yours. And it relates to his attitude on the court. He needs to go out there and grab it. It's his. He could be a star. Why is he so afraid of being a star? He should be in the dunk contest, and it's his attitude that needs to change, and that's how he's going to be a star in this league, Gliss. And I was watching this, and I wasn't watching it. I was watching the highlights of this, and I was like, damn, this is an opportunity for him. Like, why isn't he doing this? I don't know, man. And it's just like stars. Some stars are too cool. LeBron didn't do it. Anthony Edwards didn't do it. But shaedon, you're not one of those guys. You're not one of the best league players in the league. Go make yourself a star, man. I don't know, Gliss. I don't know. But
damn,
I got frustrated.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Blazer fans have come to know that shaedon is kind of a different guy. He's just like, he's not built like your typical NBA player, especially a guy that has as much talent as he does. He's a little too much like me. Like, he's like a little too laid back, a little too low key. And you know, I agree with you. I think it does I think you can kind of make that, that comparison between him not wanting to participate in the events and just kind of his general outlook on things, that we see on the court sometimes, where it feels like he's a little passive and, he could be more aggressive and, kind of go get things a little more. So I think that's a fair I think that's a fair rant to go on and kind of make the comparison there. I would love to see him in it, and I agree. The dunk contest, when people talk about like it's broken, there's not really anything you can do. I think it's just, if you have a guy like Shaedon Sharpe that would participate, yeah, it would be a great dunk contest most likely. But the problem is every dunk has been done.
Yeah.
For me, I think the biggest thing, and I think we saw this on Saturday, is especially when you have a bigger guy like that, like, it just doesn't look as pretty. Nope. Shaedon Sharpe has that athleticism that someone like, Dominique and Vince Carter had, where it's going to look, if he can pull off an impressive dunk, it's going to look better than 9 out of 10 people doing the same dunk. And I think that's the problem with the dunk contest. I don't think there's a lot of untapped, potential there in terms of what you can actually do that's like humanly possible, that would be like a game changer, where it's like, oh man, we've never seen that before. I went to the Vince Carter dunk contest, which is, obviously thought of as one of the best dunk contests of all time. And I think that was probably the last great dunk contest. And I don't, like, from being there, people probably don't remember, but Steve Francis was also amazing in that dunk contest. Tracy McGrady was in that dunk contest. He was really good in the dunk contest. So, like, it was, not only was Vince Carter amazing in what he did and how original he was in that dunk contest, but those other guys were amazing as well. But those things that he did, those were kind of like things that nobody had ever done before, and the way he made them look so effortless was, I think, what made that dunk contest impressive. And I think since then, it's been really hard to find the creativity where it's not like gimmicky. There was that stretch where it was like they were jumping over cars and stuff, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like why? Like, it's more about props and uniform, or like costume changes and stuff like that. that tells you all you need to know, that the creativity is gone. There's just not a lot left that you can do that's going to impress people because a lot of it's already been done.
Yeah, but that's why I think shaedon could really revolutionize it or change it, or at least get an article that says he fixed the dunk contest, because he has that kind of athleticism that's so electric that even if he does a dunk that's been done before, which he will, it will look different.
Yes.
And it will look
It'll look
better.
Yeah.
It will look better, like you were saying. And it's like tall guys in the dunk contest, not that great. It's not that great. Everyone knows it. I mean, that's just the truth. Like, I mean, Jackson Hayes' dunk, it was one of the worst dunks I've ever seen in a dunk contest. I mean, it was horrible. It's just a regular dunk. I've seen shaedon do that in a game and better. So yeah, Gliss, I don't know, man. I want him to have, I honestly don't even care about the dunk contest. I want shaedon to want to do it. I don't care about
want to see him on
the
that
dunk
stage.
contest. Yeah. Take a risk. And I think even Dame had a quote at All-Star Weekend about how it's like, it's not about being embarrassed. You got to come out here, and it's for the league, and you got to come out here and represent and do your thing. And I know shaedon obviously is on an injury, so he wouldn't have been able to be in the dunk contest this year, but that's not the point either. It's his attitude. I want him to want to do it. And then if he does, and then if he's injured and he can't do it, whatever. But it's his attitude. He has to want it. He has to want to learn to dribble the ball better, so that way we don't watch him have 5 live ball turnovers in a game anymore, and the Blazers lead the league in turnovers. He has to want that. So that's the thing. So okay. Anything more on All-Star Weekend, or should I throw some tanking fixes at you, Gliss? PhD level
let's
tank
go to
fixes. Okay. I got to read my notes here because this is interesting. So obviously, let's just set the framework real quick. Utah has had some crazy tank. I don't even know what you would call them, sitting stars in the fourth quarter, which is honestly, like, I'm surprised this hasn't happened in the NBA earlier. Instead of sitting guys, they're just like, oh, we're just not going to play guys when it matters in the fourth quarter. So they do that. They get fined. I think this happened even before an episode we recorded last week. They get fined $500K. I think, who was the other team? Another team got fined $100K. So it's bad. And now it's just building all these conversations all throughout media of how does the NBA fix the tanking problem. I've listened to them all, Gliss. They range from bad to worse. I mean, I've heard, fining teams or getting rid of their salary cap or like all this stuff. And I'm just like, no, like there's a reason these teams are bad, and there's a reason that they want to get the number 1 pick, because they want to get better. And so unfortunately, these kind of fixes just make it even more difficult for teams to, eventually get out of this tanking area. Okay, so there's a couple fixes that I like. And I saw a couple of these on NBA Reddit, and this is one I like, Liz. It's called COLA. Okay, carry over lottery allocation. I'm getting specific here on Wake Up RipCity. Okay, now this is how it works, Gliss. Every team who misses the playoffs gets the same amount of ping pong balls, or they use tickets, right? So it's lottery. So every single team who misses gets the same amount. But the balls roll over from year to year. So say all the teams that missed the playoffs this year get the same amount of whatever. Next year, if you got the first pick this year, you don't get any more balls for next season, right? So you would just go into next season with whatever amount of balls that you get. If you got screwed, instead of getting the first pick, you got the 7th pick, a portion of your ping pong balls will roll over to next season. So you're more likely to get the first pick next season, but it has nothing to do with your performance next year. It's because you didn't, the balls didn't go in your favor, and now you will have a better chance next season to get one of the top picks. So winning a high pick reduces your tickets. So let's say, or your ping pong balls. So first, second, third, you're going to have high reduction in what your layover of ping pong balls is going to be. But if you don't get those picks, you have a higher chance next season of getting a first pick. So that way teams aren't as likely to get repetitive first round, number one picks, and teams that, had to draft a lower player are more likely to get number one picks. So that's the first fix, Gliss. What do you think?
I kind of like that. I think it is somewhat of a deterrent from tanking. I think that it kind of makes sense. Like it gives a little bit more of an equal opportunity because there is luck involved, and then to have it carry over. Like if you didn't get land where you wanted to land, you would kind of assume that most of the teams that did not make the playoffs, the majority of them would be in that kind of retooling to full rebuild mode. So I think that gives some incentive to not necessarily just throw your worst players out there, but also give you a better chance to improve your roster over a period of time, instead of specifically just being like, oh, we're going to go all in and suck and just hope everything goes our way. So I kind of like that.
So now here's the problem with it. The issue is all of a sudden the play-in game and everything that the league has created at the bottom of that playoff race becomes a little less important, right? Because if you're, say, fighting for that 9-10 seeds like the Blazers are right now, why wouldn't they say, oh, let's just not get into the play-in, let's tank, get into the lottery rounds, because all of the odds are pretty even. So that becomes an issue. Now, of course, over time, that won't be as big of an issue because, say, like last season, a team who, I can't even remember, but let's just say, I don't know, the team who didn't get the number one pick, like, say, the Kings or something like that, they would have better odds than the Blazers would going into this round because they didn't get a high pick last season, right? So it wouldn't make as much sense to tank, but there is, like, and that kind of tanking would be worse than what we have now because those aren't even bad teams. Those are good teams that are almost in the playoffs, having very little incentive to get in, to the play-in. Like the play-in all of a sudden is not very highly looked upon. So Gliss, here's my other fix that I saw that could potentially fix this as well. So the way this fix works is once you are eliminated from playoff basketball, like mathematically can't make the playoffs, you accumulate draft points based off of the rest of the season by winning games. So let's say the Blazers, for example, were eliminated from playoff contention with 20 games to go. Every game they win in those 20 games gives them a better chance to get the number one pick. And then the most draft points, has the highest chance of getting the number one pick or gets the number one pick. Now, the way that this gets rid of tanking is you have to win after you're eliminated, but the worst team has the most chances to get points because they are eliminated the earliest. So now there's no reason for them to lose games. They got to go out there and win games because, they want to get a higher pick. But say a good team, like a 10th seed or something like that, they don't have very many chances to win games because they're not going to be eliminated till, 4 or 5 games left or something like that, or ever, and then they have less chances to win. They're not going to have as many points. Now, really bad teams might struggle with winning towards the end of the season. But this allows teams to, at least put out their best players and continue to play. And fans who are rooting for these bad teams, they're rooting for their team to win now because they're like, we got to get points. We got to get a high draft pick. We got to win. And so it offers an opportunity that way. What do you think of that idea?
Wow. That it sounds a little complicated.
Okay.
But
okay.
I kind of like it, but I think the one thing that stands out is as you mentioned, it could get a little like I think back to that season where the Blazers lost like the last 12 games or something.
But they were tanking.
Ago.
They were tanking though, right? They were
true.
Like, they had sat everyone.
But I still wonder like let's say because. Let's take the Pacers for example. Like,
sure,
you don't have your best player, your franchise player, available, and if you're a team that has multiple players that are out because of injury, and your roster is not that good, and I think we could go back and look at some of the Blazers rosters the last couple seasons, in particular, like 2-3 seasons ago. And just that where it's literally G League guys that are out there starting. I think that's where it gets a little complicated for me. Is like how good of a chance do those teams have to win on any given night? And I think part of that is also schedule. I mean, what if you're the Utah Jazz and your last 10 games you have to play the Timberwolves 2 times. And then you're on the road at Denver a game, and you're on the road, in Detroit, and you're on the road in Cleveland. Like, I just wonder if it makes it a little like if it's just a little too complicated, where it's like, well, how good of a chance does that team that's already the worst team in the NBA have to go out and get wins? And I understand we're talking about trying to deter teams from not playing their best players. But, some of those teams might not have their best players legitimately available. So I think it can fix the issue of sitting players just because you want to be the worst team. But at the same time, if you don't have players available and you're just a really bad basketball team at the same time, I wonder if it doesn't kind of penalize some of those teams. Because if you're unlucky and you have a really difficult last month of the season, there's not a very good chance that team's going to win a lot of ball games.
I guess the question then becomes, what's worse? Is a team throwing games purposely to get a higher draft pick, or a team that is struggling to win because they need to get a higher pick? I do think that maybe the fix is a mix of these two strategies, where like. They do get tickets and stuff like that, or they get more ping pong balls with the lottery allocation thing, and every team who misses gets the same amount. But then maybe a team gets more for not getting a high pick the year before, and they get more for their wins or something like that. So I mean, maybe there's a combination here that could work. But I do think these are the two best strategies that I've seen to fixing it. I think pretty sure the COLA one, the lottery allocation one, was made by some PhD professors, and then the wins was actually used by an NHL not the NHL, but some league related to the NHL. So I do think these strategies could work, and I think the NBA should take some combination of these, put them together, and see how it goes. I mean, the tanking has never really bothered me that much personally. I'm just like, but
me either, honestly.
But Gliss, I think it did bother us because the last few seasons as Blazers fans were horrible. And I was like, if I have to watch much more of this basketball, I kind of distanced myself from the team a little bit. And I still followed, I
did as well. In fact, yeah.
And no one wants that. So I do think there's an issue, and I didn't think there was an issue until the Blazers were in that tanking mode. So now I kind of understand why there needs to be a fix. And if they had been eliminated and all of a sudden wins mattered, I think we would have been a lot more locked in as fans, right? And I think players wouldn't have been sitting, and they would have put out a starting five that didn't have names that I didn't recognize. Like man, if you look at some of those starting fives now, Gliss, I don't even remember like 4 out of 5 of the players. And it's like, how could I not remember 4 out of 5 Blazers starters from April? Like, that's insane, you know? So I do think there is there does need to be a fix in that perspective as fans, because I hated not being connected to the team. So, yeah. Anything else on tanking, Gliss?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I would just say I'm with you. I hadn't really – it doesn't bother me personally that much, but I do agree that when your team is in full tank mode, it is hard to be invested. I'm not going to buy tickets to go watch the Blazers play necessarily. Yeah, I mean, the ticket prices could go down, so you might be able to. I could take my kids to a game just to take them to a game, but in terms of my level of interest in the team, it definitely changes when my team is not competitive. That doesn't mean I don't love them and that I'm not following them and kind of hoping that things. It's just like it's almost like a pause where it's like, okay, I'm watching, but I'm not that invested because I know they're not. I know they're not very good. So I do think trying to figure out a way to make it so that there's a competitive fairness where teams that are not, that are kind of down and out have some sort of way to rebuild and become relevant again. I think that's important for the health of the league. And I both of those ideas have some legs behind them, I think, and there's plenty of executives in the NBA office that are making several $100,000 a year that should be able to take some of those ideas and figure out something that they feel would work and would make the league better overall.
I hope the NBA is listening to this episode of Wake Up Rip City. But that is it from us. The Blazers take on the Nuggets on Friday. It's been a long, almost week off now, but I'm glad that the team has got some rest. And, of course, hopefully we'll get fully healthy as we look to see Shaedon Sharpe play again. And, maybe next year he'll be in that dunk contest. So we're excited for Blazers basketball. We're excited for this last stretch of the season. They, of course, have one of the easier schedules in the NBA. It should be time to make a push and hopefully get a home play-in game as the season winds down. So this has been the Wake Up Rip City podcast. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Please send us a comment. I can guarantee I'll reply to it. And we're just loving all the conversation we're having, and had a super fun time watching NBA All-Star Weekend and had a super fun time talking about it too. So thank you all, and we'll see you next time.